Welcome to demo number 2, where we're going to look at lighting our space 100% with our own individual strobes. So the goal here is to not use any ambient light whatsoever. To get started, the first thing you want to do really is find your composition. Like most shoots, you want to find that composition first before you start setting up your lights, because if you set up your lights first, inevitably they're going to be in the shot. So you want to find your composition and then set your lights up around that composition. Okay, so we're going to use this space for today's demonstration of lighting a space exclusively with strobes. So this is the before. It's kind of a mess right now. So we're going to have to move some things around, organize the frame a little bit. I'll probably have to move that couch. But the idea is we'll do some kind of composition, something like this. This is our little home gym. So we'll do a composition, something like this, and then light it exclusively with our strobes. So what I'm thinking is we'll put a strobe out here. So we'll put a strobe out here on the balcony, and then we'll point it through the door to mimic sunlight coming in. Okay? And then I'll have Annie sitting on the bench in front of our little exercise machine. So that's what I'm thinking. I found my composition here, you want to take a base exposure without the flashes firing to see how much ambient is really affecting your shot. So I'm hoping to shoot it at 200th of a second, which is my my maximum sync speed, because I want to reduce as much ambient light as I possibly can. So I'm going to shoot it at 200th of a second, and then I'm hoping for about F11. To also reduce as much of the ambient as I possibly can. So if you look out these windows here, there's still some daylight out there. So that we'll probably see a little bit of color, a little bit of detail still, but it's very minor in this case. Ideally, I could shoot later in the day and it would be completely black, but it's so minor, I think, in my composition, I'm not going to worry about it. But when you're photographing for this assignment, if there's any light like that, you want it to be as minimal as possible. So it shouldn't be lighting the room, for example. So I'm going to take a test frame at 200th of a second, my fastest sync speed, and then F11, because that's what I'm hoping to shoot at to reduce all the ambient light in the room. So let me take that shot. And according to my meter in the camera, that is severely underexposed. So that's what we want. We want to underexpose this ambient light. So my drive is on timer, but okay. So now when I look at the picture on the back of the camera, there's very little detail in those windows. And you'll see that the whole room is really dark. Okay? So that's the ultimate goal here, is to underexpose all this light that you see right now and replace it with flash. So now I'm going to meter my flash that I have set up outside. So we're going to shoot this kind of two interesting ways, and see how it works. I need to adjust this light real quick. It's a little low, so I'm going to just raise it up a hair. So we're going to do this two ways. The first way is just with one light. We're going to see how that looks. It's going to look probably really contrasty and moody. And then we're going to add a second light to the mix in a minute as well. So with the first one, we're just looking at one light, the 40-degree grid that's outside. Okay. So that's saying 11.4, which is 11 1/3. So I'll go ahead and shoot it let's shoot it at f13 and see how it looks. So I'm going to use my wife as the model again, but I'm going to have everything set up before she comes in, so she doesn't get bored. Okay, so I have it on self-timer so I can jump in. Hopefully it's focused reasonably well. Let's go here on focus points. Okay, so 200th of a second, f13. So for this one, I'm going to be looking at the light. And it's really bright. When you stare at it, it's really bright. Okay. So it's moody and dramatic. It kind of has a noir aesthetic, which can be kind of cool. Let me shoot another one and open up the exposure just a little bit. So I'm going to open up to f10. So by 2/3 of a stop, I'm going to open. Good. That's a little better, a little brighter. Now I'll do one more where I'm looking at the camera. And this isn't going to work quite as well because of the angle of the light. So if I'm looking at the camera, it's going to be really side lit. So it has a nice kind of mood to it too, but maybe not what we're looking for. Okay, so I like that exposure. Let me check the histogram, make sure I still like it. Can't trust these screens. So yeah, it's pretty good. Could probably even open it up a little bit more. Maybe we will. Let's go to F9. So 200th of a second F9. And then I'm going to do something else here. So I think the light looks a little too clean, too neutral. So I have some CTO gels. These are both half CTOs. I'll shoot it with a half. I'll put a half on the head and warm up this light so it looks kind of like late sunset kind of light coming through the window. So this is what the gelled head looks like. So you wrap the tape on each corner and make sure it's nice and snug. Nothing more annoying than having your gel fall off in the middle of a shoot. So just make sure it's covering the whole head and taped well. Okay, so the gel is on. I'm going to leave my exposure the same. Let's go ahead and see what it does to the color. See if it adds a little bit more atmosphere. So I'm going to look up at the light again. That's kind of nice. Interesting. Okay. So let's get my lovely wife in here. Okay, so we got our model. All right, so this is what I want you to do, Annie.
Am I sitting?
Yep, you're gonna sit towards the edge. And then I need you to rotate to your right and look at the light. Can you see the light?
Yeah, no.
Is it being blocked by any of the, this? You have a clear view of it.
Clear view.
Perfect. Let's do a meter. $11 on the nose. That's good. Except we're overexposing a little bit because I think it looks better. Okay. So let me change my drive.
Am I looking there the entire time?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Let me focus. Can you bring your feet a little bit closer to you? But spin back towards me again. Like that, yeah. I was just cropping your toes and I didn't want to. That's good. Chin to me just a little. Good, and look back up. Good. Interesting. Okay. Gotta look here again. It's kind of nice when you look here. That's good. Excellent. Good.
Teeth or no
Excellent.
teeth?
Nice teeth. Good. Okay, so that's using just the one kind of moody, dramatic light. So what we're going to do next is change it up a little bit so that the softbox in the room is going to be the key light. So right now it hasn't been firing yet. I've had it turned off. So we're going to change it and have Annie rotate to her left. And I'm going to use the outdoor light as an edge light now. And the softbox is going to be the key. Okay. So excellent. Let me make sure she's in the light.
Come in.
So I need to point it just a little bit more at her. Okay, good. Now I'm going to meter. So we know that the edge light is metering about f11. So we want this key light to be in the same ballpark. So it's saying 5, 6.5. Let's go, I'm going to go up a half and see what it looks like. So I don't need to be too hung up on what the meter's telling me for this. I can just kind of trust what it looks like to me. So let's see how it looks. Good.
Do you want me to turn?
Excellent. Yeah, turn a little bit more towards the light. Good.
Do you want me to look there?
Look here. Yeah, good. Sit nice and straight. There, nice. Come down this way down the bench just a little. Okay. Are you still in the light?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so so now we have a combination of the two lights. We're allowing the grid outside to be, our edge light and kind of light the room with that moody, dramatic lighting. And then our softbox has a grid on it too. And the reason why I have that up there, because if the grid wasn't there, it'll light the whole room and take away the character of what our light outside is doing. In fact, let me take that picture so you can see the difference. So this is the grid. Okay. So you're going to see a big difference with this one. Okay, look here, good. How it floods the whole room. So this grid is a really nice tool, if you have one, to help contain the light without spilling all over the place. So you can maintain a little bit more shape to the light. They're not super expensive, and I use them all the time. We're working on getting some for the college, we just don't have them yet. I'm going to show you one other trick with this background light, with the edge light. I'll be right back. Okay, so what I've done is cut a little branch off of the tree in the front yard and then just clamped it to a regular light stand here with an A-clamp and put it in front of the head. So it's maybe 2 feet in front of the head. So that's going to kind of help break up the light a little bit and act like a cookie almost. So the light won't be quite so clean coming through the window. It'll look a little bit more natural. So again, here it is. Here's the view from inside looking out. So the branch is in between the light and the model. Okay, so we've added the cookie outside. So now it's going to make that light just a little bit more dappled and have a little bit more organic shape to it. So I'm also going to put that grid, that fabric egg crate grid, back on this strobe. So if I could get this strobe much closer to Annie, then the grid would be less important. But because I'm actually shooting in 16 millimeters, so I'm shooting really wide. So the downside of shooting that wide is that you can't get the light super close like you normally would. So it starts to flood as it's backed up. So the grid helps to redirect it even though it's a long ways away. Okay, let's see how this looks. Same exposure. Good, Annie. Beautiful. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. All right, a couple more. Very nice. Good. Nice and straight. Good. All right, so we just made kind of a moody, interesting portrait with only our strobe. We eliminated all the ambient light in the room and replaced it with our own controlled light. So I hope that helps you with this assignment. Most importantly, be creative with your light. Think of ways that you can light your space in interesting ways. Put lights outside of doors, outside of windows, that sort of thing. So let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah.